Hello, my name is Whitney Anderson. I am the maintenance administrator of the Holyoke Public Schools and have been since July of 1996. Peck School is a 46-year-old structure that was built in the early 70s, which is sound structurally, but as a building ages beyond 30 years, the mechanical components start to have challenges of which cannot be repaired traditionally, simply through day-to-day endeavors. We have an aging infrastructure with our electrical system, with our heating and ventilation, some of the primary components of the building, such as the windows and doors, as well as temperature control, part of the HVAC. What we're looking at here is an air handler heating system for the library wing. And this unit here is at the end of its useful life. Parts are difficult to get when it comes to major repairs. We do the best we can with it. The most concerning to me is the electrical component, because this building was built during the oil embargo of the early 70s. The infrastructure has a all-electric heating source. So in our most stringent months of the early winter in January, February, it's over $50,000 a month just to keep the lights on and run heat in the facility. And we do not have good temperature control, in spite of our attempts to replace thermostats, and the primary components are very challenged. With that in mind, what happens now is that when we look to the primary components that are the switchgear and the transformers, we have some major challenges with components that are no longer Underwriters Laboratory listed, and repair parts are non-existent. If we ever had a major failure in this facility, we would have to look to relocate the children while we could come up with other means to repower the facility. It's also 13,800 volts here, which is unheard of in the rest of our district and throughout large number of districts in the Commonwealth, because we essentially have the same amount of power as you find on a utility pole. We do not need all that capacity, and it's distributed inside the building in 3 separate locations. So it has a great amount of equipment that's not required, and should be strongly like to recommend that we are very much aware of its limitations and also its challenges for length of service available. The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems in the school are original, and our rooftop units, for the most part, for the general areas such as the auditorium and the gymnasium. And the classrooms are all powered by unit ventilators, which create their own heat. In very few instances in the administrative areas have air conditioning capability, which over the course of time has been challenged in its operation. We've done our best to maintain and keep up with all inspections throughout the district. We have annual inspection criteria from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for our educational use group facilities operation, which comes through the building code. The local building department has an annual inspection, as well as the health department, and the state is also an inspection source for us, where they do elevator inspections and a variety of other things. So we've done our best to maintain these facilities to the requirements of the law and do so on an annual basis. Metcalf School is our oldest school in the district, and it's challenged in regards to a heavy burden with asbestos, and we also have aging windows, a roof which is over 20 years old, and a flooring composition of which is challenging for us to, the floors aren't very level because it was built in 1911. We're really challenged with trying to maintain a good environment there for our students. This is an active electric panel, distribution panel for the stage at Metcalf School, which is still in operation. We've locked it for safety, but there are still live wires in there. Lawrence School was built in the early 30s, and while it is very structurally sound, it is very challenged in regards to the type of accessories that we find there and accommodations in the classrooms. It was renovated in the early 70s. when a former auditorium was converted into the cafetorium. And now we have limitations in the classrooms with the number of outlets that we have in order to plug technology into, the windows. The plumbing is very challenged with some of the original plumbing still in the facility, which breaks at very common intervals. And we have inefficient lighting in the facility, of which we're attempting to remove and replace and upgrade with LED lighting, but there is no capital funds available that we can choose from the normal state building authority. McMahon School, while a beautiful situated area in a nice neighborhood, is aging. It's over 55 years now. So the bricks and mortar are good, but the challenges that we do have are with the operational systems, the windows, the doors. The heating system is a steam system, which has a pathway of distribution below the ground in a series of tunnels that realistically are very challenging to maintain those elements. We had the primary piping replaced in the late 90s, and now still we're seeing some challenges there as well. What we have is the boiler behind us, and also the tunnels that circulate the heat throughout the school, various classrooms, and they go in, the heat pipes go in here, the steam pipe as well as the condensate return, which returns to this storage tank here. The other side of the tunnels are over here, and you can see the number of pipes that go into them. And the general size, they're about 3.5 feet square, and they circulate hundreds of feet around the areas underneath the classrooms. So that building itself, the roof is over 20 years old, and the city is looking at some major upgrades in order to keep that functioning properly. As I had mentioned earlier, the city, through the school department, we are not the owners of the building. The city is the owners of the building. The school department are the designees or operators of the building. And with our funding availability, we invest as we can in the ordinary and necessary repairs. The state itself has subjected us to a very thorough 11-page investigation concerning our methodologies of repairs and replacements, the fact that we have everything on computers as far as our work order processing system. We've increased the size of our maintenance department when the schools first took it over in 1992 in education reform, from 2 individuals to 7 full-time individuals who are now performing repairs on a daily basis. We also have numerous subcontractors that are working throughout all the different buildings in order to keep these buildings up to par. And we process over 2,000 work orders a year just to keep the maintenance, to respond to the tickets, we call them, in order to repair anything that seems to go wrong. So with that in mind, the state is in continuously for elevator inspections. The city holds responsibility as officials of jurisdiction for what's known as the CMR 780, which are the Commonwealth of Massachusetts building regulations. Fire, life, safety, I'm responsible for all those certificates of inspection, and the various inspections would take place on a quarterly basis, a semi-annual basis, and an annual basis. If we weren't able to build new buildings through the participation with the state reimbursement program, what happens is that the city would assume all responsibility for those costs. Now what we see is a reimbursement rate, which potentially an effective reimbursement rate, which would be in the high 50%. So other communities which have put up schools, East Long Meadow, Wilbraham, South Hadley, Westfield, all have percentage rates which are equivalent to ours. Long Meadow is far less than that. They're only about 39% because they're a more affluent community. But realistically, what happens is when we participate in a program such as that, we're able to obtain, as you are aware, monies available in order to make these necessary repairs. If we do not have these monies available, it will be incumbent upon us still to comply with the law and to repair these buildings on our own behalf with our own funding.